I'm Jen Schrader, and this is Behind the Springs, conversations with the people working for you in Colorado Springs, Olympic City, USA. Everyone, welcome to this episode. I'm excited for this conversation. You may have heard last year about the city's 1,000 Neighborhood Gatherings initiative. It was a push for connection and a way to encourage neighbors to get together, to connect, have a meal, plant a garden, maybe clean up a park or just have a conversation. So we had great success with that. More than 55,000 people attended a gathering during the campaign in all 77 of our city's neighborhoods, which is very impressive. And the reason behind it is simple. You want to build a city of great neighbors, great neighborhoods. Plus, research shows that connecting with those around you has a positive impact on your mental health. No surprise. So we want to keep the momentum going this summer and beyond. So we're fortunate to partner with an organization focused on our local neighborhoods. And Kelly Bull is here. She's the executive director. Thank you for being with me.
Thanks so much for having me.
I really appreciate it. And you are formerly known as KONO, or the Council of Neighbors and Organizations, and you are now called Hey Neighbor.
We are.
So a new and fun name.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. There's been great feedback. We get a lot of people saying Hey Neighbor back to us. And It's really fun in the comment sections on social media that people say Hey Neighbor, and we get the waving emoji a lot.
Yes, I'm sure you do. And that sort of encompasses what you all do, right? I mean, you really bring people together. So some people may have known you as KONO, or maybe they're being introduced to you for the first time. So for our audience, can you kind of explain what is the mission of your organization? What do you set out to do?
Yeah, so we're a nonprofit here and we serve the Pikes Peak region, and we are all about just connecting neighbors, helping them build relationships and create change in the community. And we really envision a world in which everybody loves their neighborhood. So our mission is that we inspire our neighbors to create vibrant communities together.
And this work is something that you've always been doing. Obviously, your organization has always been doing. And not that the city hasn't been doing it, but this is a more organized effort to really enlist the help of the neighbors out there, right? And the neighborhoods out there to say, you may already even be doing this, but let's make it more of a concerted community effort. Why is that so important?
Yeah, I just think that a connected neighborhood is a more fun neighborhood, a more safe neighborhood, a healthier neighborhood. When you have relationships with your neighbors, you're checking in on one another. You are making sure that there's not anything unsafe going on in the neighborhood. You're calling your neighbor to say, hey, there's somebody parked outside your house. Do you know this person? And just really watching out for one another. And it's really just a lot more fun when you know your neighbors.
And we all are guilty of sort of losing some of that connection during the pandemic, especially, but just in general, over time, it happens. So it's good to sort of jumpstart that connection again. And I want to talk about some of the things this year that we've got on tap that are new from last year. I know we're going to really encourage people to get outside during National Parks and Rec Month in July, do community service together, join a neighborhood watch program, which really goes back to what you said about safety in our neighborhoods, and even educating our neighborhoods about emergency preparedness. As we know, we all have different emergencies that we need to be ready for here, particularly wildfire in Colorado Springs. And so it's always good to have allies in that. So I understand you offer some support during this campaign. And when I say support, it's really fun support for people who do a gathering. So what kind of incentives are there?
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of support, and we have support from small gatherings to large gatherings. So one of our newest programs is our neighborhood cafe that has just been a huge success. And this is really great for anybody in a neighborhood who doesn't know their neighbors, or maybe has lived in their neighborhood long enough where you feel like you should know your next door neighbor, but you don't, and it's kind of awkward.
And where do you start? Yeah.
So this neighborhood cafe is a great place to start, because what it is, it's very simple. It's you just get 6 of your neighbors together, and then Hey Neighbor will cover the coffee. And we have a partnership with Kangaroo Coffee that supplies our coffee, and it's just an excuse to go knock on your neighbor's door. We prepare you with an invitation that you can bring and drop off, and just knock on their door, say, hey, we're trying to get a neighborhood cafe together. Do you want to go? It just gives people a lot more courage when they have something to hold in their hand and a reason to knock on the door and to work towards an initiative.
And not feel like a salesperson or whatever. Yes, and just say hello. So do you encourage people to host that in their home, or do they go to a park? Or
Great question. You can do either. You can host in your home, or you can host in a coffee shop or at a Kangaroo Coffee. And so whatever you're most comfortable with, whether it's staying in the neighborhood or moving out to a coffee shop.
So that's nice. It gives people some options.
Yeah. Yes. And it's been incredible to see what has come from these neighborhood cafes where it's just 6 neighbors who didn't know each other getting together and then talking. And in one neighborhood, they planned a neighborhood cleanup at that coffee at the neighborhood cafe. And another neighborhood decided they wanted to do a cornhole tournament for one of our neighborhood play days, which is another option for getting your neighbors together in a larger sense.
Okay.
So we have partnered with Underline, who has provided us cornhole boards to host cornhole tournaments. And
because sometimes even if you're inviting 6 neighbors, if they all have families, it's a lot of people. So it can be a bigger group than maybe for a coffee. So you want to do something a little more active.
Yep. Yes. If you want an active, bigger group, our neighborhood play days are a great option. So you can do a cornhole tournament that will help you run, or we are also partnering with Aerosport, which is a new sport that's being launched in Colorado Springs. And so we're hosting tournaments with them as well.
I've heard a little bit about that. It's catching on.
It's really fun.
Yes.
And anybody can play it.
You've tried it?
Yeah. Okay. It's a really inclusive sport. We just hosted a play day with a neighborhood. There was a 4-year-old playing. There was a 70-year-old playing. Everyone was having a great time.
Fun.
It was really fun.
Yes, that's great. And a lot of times, I mean, in your experience, and of course in our experience with 1,000 Neighborhood Gatherings, I think we've seen this, is that when people do that, take that initial leap to just do one gathering, it typically leads to more.
It does.
Right? I mean, if not regular kind of traditions, at least a few more gatherings where you're connecting, even if it's not, every single month or every single year even, but just getting together.
Yeah, it's a domino effect. You can start with that neighborhood cafe and then work your way to a neighborhood play day. And then eventually you might be throwing a block party, which we also help with. And we have toolkits to help people plan a block party. We help with the permitting process to rent out parks.
And that's through us, through the city. Yes.
Yep.
And sometimes people, you're right, don't know what steps do I take to get this all done. And it's so much easier when you have a little help.
Yeah.
So not that it's complicated, but it's just, where do I go and what do I fill out?
Yeah.
And
sometimes you just need that extra helping hand, and we're there to hold your hand through the process.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to mention our website and yours, coloradosprings.gov/1000 gatherings, and then also heyneighbors.org. So both of those are great resources. If you're listening and thinking, I would love to do that, just get my block or half my block, or even just the homes around you, get them together so that everybody at least knows each other's names and can help each other. I think of times when my neighbors we've helped each other with car trouble or through a difficult time, or even, through a fun time, right? And having them over to get together. So it's really valuable. And I'm assuming you see that all the time, of those, I guess, the benefits of making that effort, because it is an effort. So can you talk a little bit about what I mentioned before, the mental health benefits, but just the long-term benefits?
Yeah. So I've seen it firsthand in my neighborhood. When I moved into my neighborhood, there was little engagement whatsoever. And I grew up in a neighborhood in Georgia where everybody knew everybody.
Yes.
And so when I moved into this neighborhood, I was just like, what's going on here?
So strange for you?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what happened is one day our next door neighbors got surrounded by the SWAT team and opened up the blinds, and there's the whole SWAT team outside of my house. Looking at the next door neighbors. And I was home alone. I was really scared. And I realized I didn't have a single neighbor's phone number. Nobody had spoken to us since we had moved into the neighborhood. And it was that moment I just said, okay, this is enough. I need to know my neighbors. I need to feel safe. And I want to know my neighbors and their phone numbers, because I'm thinking, I knew that there was a retired woman living next to me and she was by herself also. I'm imagining her scared as well. And that if we were able to text each other and check in, that we would feel a lot better. So I really made it my mission to bring my block together. And so just one by one, I started meeting my neighbors, and it really started with a hey neighbor. I poked my head over the fence and said, hey neighbor,
like typical, sitcom type. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we actually bonded over gardening. We're both gardeners. And then we started identifying more gardeners in the neighborhood. And we actually built a little garden club that would meet on my back patio. We would just drink mint tea and talk about gardens.
Yes.
And that just grew into meeting more and more neighbors. And now we have this very engaged block. We had a hot cocoa party in the driveway last winter. We had
winter's tough. That's a really good idea.
Yeah,
because sometimes
so
I know in my
simple.
neighborhood, I am lucky to know a lot of my neighbors and they're wonderful. But in the winter, you tend to just retreat and you don't see each other until the weather gets nice.
Yeah, it was great. Everybody just brought blankets and a chair, and I had a crock pot full of hot cocoa. It was so easy and cheap.
We used to do a Halloween get together in our driveway just before we do pizza and stuff before the kids went and trick or treated.
Yeah.
Whether people had kids or not, just come for dinner and just chatting with everyone. And it was a good thing to do before everything kind of got cold and everybody had to be inside.
Yeah, that's a great event.
So it's tricky. Yeah, in those winter months. That's a good idea.
Yeah. And last Sunday was a great success. So we've now had 3 planting parties in my neighborhood where we have gotten a bunch of volunteer neighbors together, and we totally transformed 3 families' yards. And we planted fruit trees and berry bushes and flowers and herbs.
Great.
And so we're just kind of expanding the yards one by one in the neighborhood, all working together to transform it.
Oh, that's awesome. And people may be wondering, well, why can't Hey Neighbor just take off and do this on their own? And, I can say on behalf of the city, the answer is that the city is very invested in this effort as well for obvious reasons. For, like you said, increasing safety in our neighborhoods. I think just pride in our neighborhoods is very important. And some of this work that ends up happening that maybe doesn't feel like work, it feels like fun, but helps everyone because it cleans up our city. It helps keep us beautiful. And all those efforts are so critical to us because our team is small but mighty and can't quite be everywhere and can't quite do it all. And we need the help of these neighborhoods to keep our city vibrant. And so this is so beneficial to us. And we have many partners. I should mention the Colorado Springs Police Department's Neighborhood Watch program is a great partner, and so many different organizations doing such wonderful work. So why not all get together? And if you have time to register that neighborhood gathering, we appreciate keeping track of it because I think it just really gets people excited and feeling good about the direction our community is headed in.
Yes.
And as we grow, I feel like this is even more important.
Yeah.
And a little more challenging, right? For you and your organization too, right? To keep track. I mean, I read 77 neighborhoods. And I think, wow, we are a big city.
We are.
Yes.
We're spread out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why it's even more important to feel that connection. And we have so many wonderful neighborhoods. So I won't tell you to name your favorites. Obviously yours is your favorite, but there are some just great areas here. And so I welcome people to get involved. I want to mention too that City of COS and Hey Neighbor 719 are also great social media accounts to follow. Great updates there on all the events. And it's just really easy to get involved and connected. So Kelly, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate all the work you guys are doing. And if you all like this podcast, Behind the Springs, I encourage you, please share it with someone you know. Please subscribe and continue to listen. And thanks for joining us for this conversation. Bye, neighbor.